Terrence Shannon fell on draft night to, was it 27 or 26?
27, I think.
27 to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Sorry, I don't know that off the top of my head, but we have a lot to record this morning, and I didn't pull the tab up on where he was actually taken because I know he's going to Minnesota. We've already called the Timberwolves one of the big winners of the draft. We were screaming about it live on the draft show. But when we were live on the draft show, we were actually airing a pre-recorded interview with Braden Smith from Purdue during when Terrence Shannon was selected. So I know one of the biggest points of negative feedback we got was like, man, it would have been cool to get your guys' live thoughts about Terrence Shannon. We went on vacation after the draft show, so this is about 5 or 6 days in the making. But let's talk about this. What is your reaction to Terrence Shannon and his fit with his new team, the Minnesota Timberwolves?
I love the pick, honestly. I do because, right now they're coming off this great season, right? And they make the Western Conference Finals. Ant's looking like he's the next probably face of the NBA. He's gonna be special. Finch has done great things with that team defensively. They're one of the best defensive teams in all of NBA. They have McDaniels. They have all these guys in the fold, basically, right? And I love the pick they made earlier in the first round by grabbing Rob Dillingham. I love that. And I think Terrence Shannon Jr. is a player that can play right now for this Timberwolves team and contribute. And we talked about it coming into the draft when we were doing all these videos about like what we want for players, where we want them to end up. I wanted Terrence Shannon to play on a team that is going to be playing playoff basketball and that he can contribute to winning basketball. And I think his ability to shoot, his strength, his athleticism, and just the type of player he is, the hard worker that he is, I think will fit perfectly into this Minnesota Timberwolves system. And I think he's going to be a player that's going to be a big part of the rotation right away.
Yeah. So the more that I heard about like why this pick was taken, number one, I love this spot because it's a team that's ready to compete. It's a team that has a lot of like youthful energy still to it, right? Like the Wolves are young, but they're competing. They're not like a veteran oriented team. Shannon can kind of come in and like he'll fit in with the young guys, but he can also kind of be a mature presence, a guy who played 4 years of college basketball. It's been through a lot. It's a really good culture fit, I think. Um, Two, I don't know the name of the man. I think it was the Timberwolves GM, maybe, who was speaking on this.
Tim Connolly.
Tim Connolly, yeah. There's video of Tim Connolly speaking on like who Terrence Shannon is and why they were appealed to drafting him. And man, he went all the way in detail about the trial and the situation, everything he's been through. I thought he spoke more eloquently than anybody in college basketball did on this. So like the Wolves did their research, and man, he put it as plainly as you can. Like it was tragic Terrence had to go through this, but just every step of the way he handled himself indicates a guy who is just an awesome person. And his ability to play basketball through adversity is something that's going to help them in playoff games, in serious basketball competition settings. I love it. And then three, the basketball fit. They talked about how their initiative this offseason, they're a team that's ready to compete. They weren't going to draft anyone in this draft that was going to upgrade their starting lineup. Their starters are better than the players in this draft. So how could the Timberwolves get better in this draft? Make their second unit faster. That was the whole goal. We want an added spark of life. We want to be better in transition with our bench. You had Rob Dillingham and Terrence Shannon together. Mission accomplished. Like, those are the two best transition players in the entire sport last year of college basketball.
And they add those players to reigning sixth man of the year, Naz Reid, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who was able to, make some plays off the bat. Like, Timberwolves killed it. That's why they were a winner of the draft when we talked about it.
It's an incredible fit, and it's like that unit, I can tell you right now, Rob and Terrence Shannon, is going to win them a playoff game. Like there's going to be a moment where we're looking up like this Wolves bench is just better than the other team's benches.
They got to the Western Conference Finals last season, and there was a point that I think players were kind of run down. Like I think Ant was a little bit run down. Like it was his first long playoff run, but I think there was points where like he had to do too much, and Karl Anthony Towns really struggled, and some other players struggled. I think adding more guys that can give them rotational depth will, one, help the starters a lot, and two, you know, I think that they'll be able to contribute to winning basketball, like you said. Like I know it's not a Rob Dillingham video, but Rob Dillingham gets to play under and learn from Mike Conley, who's one of
Yeah.
the best point guard vets in the NBA. Terrence Shannon Jr. gets to play next to and work with Anthony Edwards, who's one of the best players in the NBA, even though shit, Terrence Shannon Jr. might be older than Anthony Edwards at this point. But like the point still stands. I think these guys are going to be in a great system, currently a great culture. It's perfect for TSJ.
Yeah, he's going to compete and help them in a big way. Um, I'm gonna say something, and you can check me on this. You're often more in tune with NBA stuff than I am. The Wolves are really good. I mean, that you look through their roster last year: Towns, Gobert, Anthony Edwards, Mike Conley. Those dudes are some killers. Are we sure Terrence Shannon isn't better than Jaden McDaniels?
Yeah,
Why?
I think Jay McDaniels is one of the best defensive players. Like he's like first team all defensive NBA type guy.
But couldn't Terrence Shannon become that? I mean, I guess that means he's not that yet. But I guess I'm just looking like if we're saying, okay, what's Terrence Shannon's role going to be on this team? Jay McDaniels is like a hybrid 3/4 who averaged 10 points a game last year, 3 rebounds, less than a steal a game, less than a block a game, 1.5 assists, shot 33% from three on 3.5 attempts and 72% from the line. Started 71 games for the Wolves, started 79 games the year before this. I'm not convinced Terrence Shannon can't do that right now.
I wouldn't go that far, but I see where you're coming. I see where you're coming from, but I would not go that far.
Okay. We don't have to. I think this is part of why it's a good fit for Terrence, much like the way the Grizzlies are for Edie. There's a window of opportunity here. Like you're
Yeah,
being drafted to come reignite the bench. But if Terrence Shannon hits, like if Terrence Shannon's just really good, there's kind of an opening for him to slot in at the three next to Ant and the bigs.
yeah. Is Terrence Shannon Jr. older than Jaden McDaniels?
He may be.
I mean, yeah. I mean, yeah.
Look, this is why I'm fact checking it. I'm just saying. I think like there's a world, right?
Honestly, I think Jay McDaniels and Terrence Shannon Jr. might have been the same pick, actually.
Really? Like
Like,
27th or whatever?
let me look this up. Because he played 1 year at Washington.
McDaniels was the 28th pick in the 2020 NBA draft to the Lakers.
So basically the same, kind of.
Yeah, I don't mean to disrespect Jay McDaniels. I don't. He's 6'9". Terrence Shannon isn't that. But like if Terrence is really good, I think he could give you better numbers than McDaniels if he
I'll tell you what I like more when that whole Cat Anthony Towns thing isn't working out. Go like a little bit smaller.
Or could we reach a world where we just let Ant run point and it's Ant, Shannon, McDaniels, and the two bigs?
I wouldn't be mad. I wouldn't be upset at that.
Wouldn't hate that too. A lot of possibilities. We love this spot. It's a great landing spot for Terrence, even though he made you wait a little longer. I think this is a slam dunk, and he's going to have every opportunity in the world on a team that may be ready to win a championship card. I'm pretty excited about this.